Hey everyone, and welcome back to Galgorm Hall. In my last video I highlighted the fact that I need to build the bridges for this section of the layout before I can lay the plaster bandage down to form the hills. So with that in mind, I wanted to produce this video to show you how I go about building bridges. I'm going to use 2mm mount board card, and on that mount board card I'm going to fix to it the Slater's plastic card brickwork, and the one I'm going to use is the 7mm dress stone. To start with, we need to produce the card former for the portal, and what I have done is this. Now I've taken the measurements between both sides of the embankment, and that works out around about the 85 mils mark. The height of the tunnel is based on the height of the carriages that are going to pass through it. Now, sitting on code 75 track, the carriages sit approximately 55 millimeters above the baseboard. So I have made this tunnel portal approximately 60 mils high to allow for clearance, and as you can see, it's pretty tight. Now along with that, I've also cut out the card to produce the abutments, and they are going to sit at a slight angle, one there and one there. Now again, those have been measured out to suit the height of the embankment either side of the bridge. Just above the upper line, I've raised that piece of card approximately 15 millimeters above the baseboard on that level, and that then will be clad with another sheet of card on the opposite side, on the track side, for two reasons. One will be to thicken up the actual bridge to make it appear a lot bigger than what it actually is, and also because that upper line is on a slight curve, the baseboard itself is on a curve, and the bridge has a slight gap on the between the piece of card and the baseboard. So that extra piece of card will just plug that gap so that whenever it comes to ballasting, nothing's going to fall down in beneath. So, okay, a little more progress on the bridge. I have the abutments glued to the tunnel mouth, and I also have the internal walls of the tunnel fixed into place too. Now, a little tip for you here. The problem I had with this was trying to get the angle correct going in along the track line. So what I actually did was I took a piece of paper, slide it in underneath the bridge, which of course isn't going to work now because I've got it on camera. Okay, slide it in. Now if you know your position of your bridge, if you just crease the paper, it's enough just to show the line, and then mark the front edge of each of the sides. Whenever you remove the whole thing out, then you have a line by which you can gauge how to position your tunnel walls in place. I hope that all makes sense. Now of course, don't just take that as being gospel. Once you do get it glued into place, put it back in and check for clearances. Check it on the longest of your stock. I've run a carriage and all through that. The space is tight, but it's all clear. So just a wee tip there for you. Now, as I said, I have the internal structure of it more or less complete now. Each of the walls has a couple of braces just to help for strengthening, and it also stops the bending or the bowing in of the card. And then on the back, if we have a look at it, this is the upper wall, which is now double thickness and overlaps the upper line above. And then I also put a little arch in here too. Now if you can see that, it's just sitting above the lower section of the arch, and that's to allow me to put the card in, and this will act as a guide for whenever I put the folded card in across. So I'm going to go away and do that, and I'll come back to you whenever that's done. Okay, so the card is now folded and put into place behind to create the roof of the arch. Now this is the same 2mm mount board that I've used before. It just needed a little bit of manipulation to get it put into place, but having this guide here at the back really did help, just to get that contour correct. I've also, you'll not be able to pick it up very well on the camera, but all the sections that are going to be clad in the plastic card, I have given it a coat of PVA. Once dry, it just sort of gives it a plasticky sort of finish to it, and it allows the glue to bond better between the card and the plastic card. Now on the plastic card, I'm about to start doing the cladding of it, but this is the plastic card. I think I had said at the beginning it was going to be the 7mm stone, but having a look at it here, I don't like it. I think it's just too big, and it's probably because this is quite a small bridge, but I mean, some of the stonework on this just looks, it just looks too out of scale. Now I know it's not meant for 4mm scale, but I think that would work well on a retaining wall, you know, alongside a quayside, or maybe I can even use it on the retaining wall at the back of the station, but for this I'm going to leave it. So what I've got instead is the Slater's 4mm dressed stone. Now it's got an embossed texture to it, and I think that'll just work much better. Already scale wise, I think it just suits. So I'm going to start measuring up the main section of it first, go to the plastic card, do all the markings in it, cut it out, and we'll come back whenever I have that section done. Okay, just before I go any further and glue this plastic card onto the structure, I just thought I'd show you the process that I went through to get to this stage. First of all, I cut out a square of plastic card to the dimensions of the full square of the face of the bridge. Then, by taking the measurements here and here, and at the top on each side, I was able to work out the diagonal cut that I was going to make on each of the wall sides too. Whenever I was doing those measurements, I ensured that I left a margin of error, so cut slightly on the large side, and then when dry fitting, if there was any trimming was needed on either side, I could shave the smallest amounts, try it again, shave a little bit more until you get a nice neat fit. You don't want to overcut. If you overcut, you're going to end up with gaps, so you're better overdoing it, or undercutting, if you know what I mean, and then trim away until you get that perfect fit. So after that, I was able to turn it around underneath, run a line on the back of the plastic card to get the markings for the mouth, or the bridge mouth. Trimmed that away, and then as you can see, I've also trimmed another section here. Now the offcuts that we've got from the mouth I've kept, because what I'll be able to use is cut these down into individual bricks, and by putting them vertically against the run of the brick here, I'm able to make the little arch section that would sit above any bridge to help for support. The other thing I've done is on each side at the top, because there's brick going to be going to go around the sides, I've given that a slight angle so that whenever the plastic card on the edge is put in, it'll meet with a nice clean join and you don't see any sharp edges. I've also cut out the brick card, or the card for the abutments for both sides. Now, and they will go in here, and equally with them, I've also given them a slight 45-degree angle so that the brickwork can be glued on there and will butt up nicely with this here. Obviously these small sections here will also get an angular cut too, and that'll join on. So I have both of those done. I'll go glue away these, glue these here, finish off the little trimmings on either end and also on the back for the rail side part of the bridge, and then do the little brick mouldings in underneath, and I'll come back whenever all that's done. Okay. Okay, we've got some of the most fiddly parts of the build now done. As you can see, I have the brick, the stones working around the top of the arch. We have the end pieces on both abutments and on the upper sections too. Also on the inside of the bridge mouth, there is a strip just here. So the most difficult bit was this here. What I ended up having to do was glue in this section first underneath, which I cheated a little bit by just cutting a full strip and bending it around. Initially I had thought I would cut each individual piece and put it in, but you're not going to see it. What's the point? It was extra work and it really wasn't going to benefit it much. But these bits here proved a little bit of a nuisance. What I've done is, I've not a spare piece of plastic card here. Basically all these little brick pieces here, I cut a strip about 6 mils wide, and every full piece of brick I removed it individually, so I had one actual piece of brick, and then by putting it in and judging by eye the positioning, the angle was positioned right the way around. Once it all dried, then take a knife, sandpaper, and just trim off any excess bits that are overhanging and sand back to the edge. Now again, it's not 100% perfect. You're working within a very small area, but it's not going to be seen. The priority for me was to get the outside of it looking pretty much spot on. Now, next stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the build at this stage and make this a 2-part series. This is coming up to about 10 to 15 minutes now, and I don't want to go on much longer. So this is going to conclude part 1. In part 2, we will fit the cappings for the abutments and for the top of the bridge mouth. We'll fit the plastic card for the tunnel section of the bridge, and then final stages will be the painting. So please come back in part 2 and we'll finish this little project off. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.